The Obama administration is slowing the U.S. troop withdrawal from Afghanistan. Military leaders have asked that the 9,800 troops left in the country remain there for the 2016 fighting season. Originally, the plan was to drop the number of troops down to 5,500 at the end of this year. Officials say that President Obama will likely announce the decision sometime this month.
The United States and Iran are negotiating a nuclear deal. The bid to end a decade-long standoff comes just 2 weeks before the deadline to reach an agreement over Iran's nuclear program. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says he is hopeful a deal will be reached after sitting down with Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif, but made no promises. U.S. is aiming to keep Iran from developing any kind of nuclear weapon for at least a year.
Kurdish officials in Iraq say the terror group ISIS used chemical weapons against them. The Kurds now say they have evidence ISIS used chlorine gas against Kurdish soldiers in December and January. The Kurds are allies of the United States who have fought ISIS on the ground in northern Iraq. Iraqi forces are currently battling ISIS for control of the city of Tikrit.
3 teenage boys from London are out on bail after they were arrested for trying to go to Syria. 2 17-year-olds and a 19-year-old got to Turkey, but they were sent back to the UK after police found out they were reported missing. Last month, 3 teenage girls left their homes to join ISIS in Syria. The British government is struggling to stop the flow of Brits from joining the terror group.
10 healthcare workers returned to the U.S. after being exposed to Ebola. The American clinicians were working in Sierra Leone with the Boston-based charity Partners in Health after going to the aid of a clinician who was diagnosed with the deadly virus. The healthcare worker being cared for at NIH is the 11th person to be treated for Ebola in the U.S. 4 clinicians returned to the Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha, and another was flown to Atlanta Friday near Emory University Hospital. None of the workers have Ebola symptoms, but they will be quarantined for safety measures.
Next time you order coffee, get more than one. A new study released shows that coffee is good for more than just helping you stay awake. Katie Ledin reports on the study and the health benefits that coffee provides.
Journal Heart released a study earlier this month about coffee consumption and how it lessens the risk of clogged arteries and heart attacks. The researchers found that people who drank coffee were less likely to have symptoms of heart failure than those who did not. The DC Cafe at Politics and Prose has been serving coffee since 2006, and the manager says he feels good hearing about coffee's benefits.
There's heart disease in my family, and I see the benefits of coffee, and I see if this drink makes my heart work harder, I think my heart's going to get stronger, and I think that'll help prevent heart disease.
But Professor Fahy from American University, who specializes on health reporting, explained the danger of studies like these and how they can be exaggerated in the media.
We have journalists taking one study and writing about it as if it was close to the final word as possible about coffee. And science doesn't work that way. Science is progressive, it's incremental, it's step by step. It takes many, many studies over many, many years to come to a definite conclusion on something. So this is quite early days yet. One study does not prove anything beyond a reasonable doubt. So if it's only one study, be cautious.
Forbes reported that the senior author of the study says he is afraid it was exaggerated. And at this point, he does not suggest drinking coffee to prevent heart disease. Katie Ledin, Washington.
Smoking may disappear in Britain by 2050. According to research conducted by Citigroup this year. Since the introduction of a smoking ban in certain areas in 2007, the number of smokers has dropped. Analysts say the percentage of smokers is declining across the world, and if the trend continues, many major tobacco markets will be in trouble.
Italian fashion designers Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana are facing backlash this morning after they made comments about traditional families. They described babies born through artificial insemination as synthetic. Dominic Jordan reports.
Singer Elton John called for a boycott on the Dolce & Gabbana label after the designer's comments in Italy's Panorama magazine supported traditional families. Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana were a couple for 23 years before they split in 2005. They continue to work together and are close friends. In the interview, Dolce told the magazine, "I call children of chemistry synthetic children, rented wombs." Gabbana added, "The family is not a fad."
Children bring happiness, and for you to say that they can only go about doing things one way I think it's ignorant. No one does things the same way every time.
Elton John and his husband David Furnish have 2 children by in vitro fertilization. He responded via Instagram saying that the comments were out of step with the times, just like your fashion. He added hashtag boycott Dolce Gabbana.
To try and say something so negatively against something that people really, really rely on, it's just, you're taking everything out of context. You're taking your own personal way of life and you're juxtaposing it against their way of life.
His hashtag led to thousands of posts on Twitter and Instagram with couples showing their children made through in vitro and their support for the boycott. The designers have since apologized, but they are still viewed as unfashionably old-fashioned. For District Wire News, I'm Dominique Jordan.
After the break, DC marijuana users check out their options at the first ever DC Pot Expo.